Comet Hale-Bopp, which was also visible that night. This was something that didn't belong, something awe-inspiring, yes, but also a little frightening. Then Governor Fife Symington was flooded with inquiries. The public was demanding answers, and Symington called a press conference to announce his proposed plan of action.
I believe it a serious offense for anyone, human, space alien, or otherwise, to engage in mysterious activity in our nighttime skies. That is why I will personally ask that the perpetrator be prosecuted to the fullest for the havoc wrought on our entire community. And now I'll ask Officer Stein and his colleagues to escort the accused into the room so that we may all look upon the guilty party. Don't get him too close to me, please. It's, you know.
Welcome to the Petroglyphs in the Sky, the ultimate UFO show, with your host, Jeff Woolwine.
Shortly after 8 p.m., Arizona reported seeing a triangular-shaped object which greeted thousands of people saw more than stars in the night sky.
The mystery remains unsolved and controversial. Nothing just a black
On March the 13th, 1997, compelling accounts of various flights were sustained of Arizona. These flights are now referred to as the Phoenix flights, were actually witnessed and evidenced by other witnesses. What were these flights? What is an alien contact? Tonight, we explore the Phoenix flights in the sky with Jeff Woolwine from petroglyphsinthesky.comm.
Jeff Woolwine, the first person to do this.
What you choose to believe about Jeff Woolwine and his petroglyph theories is entirely up to you. And whether he's a madman or a genius, I guess no one can say. What we can say is that ancient art is riddled with images of strange beings, wheels of fire, and flying shields in the sky.
Jeff Woolwine.
To show you today. You know, studying the rock art, you know, out there on South Mountain, I've come to find out that it's the same story, you know, that we find on other parts of the world. It seems like it's the same story, you know, just different, little bit different, you know, in you know, the way they talk about it, you know, different names and stuff, but it's the same story that we find all over the world. Yeah, my research on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona, I come to find out that the mountain was actually once named Mount Sapoa, Mountain of Mercy. You know, this mountain was very significant, very holy to the Hohokam Indians. I've come to find out that the rock art not only shows that, you know, they did see things in the sky, you know, because this rock art is actually a prehistoric photograph of what these people saw in the sky. And but we also find altars up there. And so this was a mountain of sacrifice. And I've come to find out that they worshipped, you know, they worshipped these things that they saw in the sky, just like what the Mayans did in Mexico. And in this show today, we'll be talking a little bit about this. We'll be showing a video on, it was an interview that I did with Kevin Smith. And it talks about how the Sumerians were much like the Hohokams. In fact, writing on, the carvings, the rock art and stuff, it's the same interpretation, because we find the lizard man. The Sumerians talk about the lizard people. And the Hohokam, which means the people who went missing, they talk about the lizard people also. So it's the same story. It's just told maybe just a little bit different, but it's the same story all over the world. And all this information that I'm presenting to you now on this show, you can find at my website, petroglyphsinthesky.comm. And if you have any UFO sightings that you would like to, have seen on the show, email me at petroglyphsinthesky@yahoo.com, and I'll look it over. And if I like it, we'll show it on the air, and we'll talk about it. This show is gonna be great. Last show we had Jeremy Fox on there, and he had the fleet sighting. He had a fleet orb. Well, this time I found something that happened in California, and it's a fleet sighting. And this Skywatcher, he did a great job filming these things. And but first, what we're going to see right now is something that Stacy Gill photographed, or actually Doreen took a look at this. Let's see. There it is. And I think it's pretty neat. This thing flew over. This is in Phoenix, Arizona. It flew over Stacy Gill's house, and thanks to Doreen, who took a photograph of this thing. Kind of looks like a barbell, maybe a serpent or something. But it looks very interesting, and great photographing that. Way to go, Stacy, out there in Phoenix. He's a good friend of mine, matter of fact. We've gone on many adventures on South Mountain, and he's actually seen some UFOs. It was great. When we were out there, we actually saw some orbs. He got some photographs of it. And so now what we're going to see is this is from YouTube channel 3M Trails. And this is the fleet sighting that happened in California, and I thought it was very significant.
Thousands of these things in the sky.
And I hope you like it.
Sitting here. There's a couple hundred of them. Little white orbs. I'm not sure if they're balloons, but there's hundreds of them. There's a cluster of 3 doing. Now there's one flying in between the other 2. I'm watching. These are not balloons. These are not balloons, people. This is beautiful. Sighting over Carmaki, California. The time is, I don't know what time it is. It's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I noticed them when I was in my pool. Oh my God, people, I could film this for hours. I'm soaking wet because I was in my pool when I first saw them. I saw them when I saw it. I don't know. And if they are balloons, I don't know. They're extremely high up. I mean, how is it that they're making formations? I don't understand. These things are making formations. Keep watching, Mom, because they're rearranging. Seriously, they are rearranging. I can't see it with my eyes anymore. Oh, there they are. They're way over there. Well, that was intel. Because that's where they go. Oh, God, I lost them.
You are watching the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. Follow Jeff Woolwine as he explores Native American rock art that shows UFOs has visited Earth long ago. Check out the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. Tell your friend.
lights were seen in the sky from Prescott to Tucson, giving UFO believers a lot to talk about. And for the last 12 years, they have been doing a lot of talking about those Phoenix lights. Brendan Klein's in the Information Center with more. Brendan?
Phelan, those Phoenix lights were explained the next day. We were told that they were actually flares, but that does not satisfy the believers. A handful of people here in the valley believe this was a visit from far beyond, and they don't think this is the last.
It's pretty incredible once you witness it.
To call Jeff Woolwine a believer would be an understatement. He has dedicated his life to researching UFOs.
Without that film, I believe that we wouldn't be discussing this topic today. Video cameras are the weapons for UFO activity.
The Phoenix lights of 1997 had a big impact on him. Since then, he never misses an opportunity to try to convince people what's out there.
Clearly, there wasn't any airplanes dropping these lights out. They simply just seem to pop in the sky and then pop out.
Woolwine points to petroglyphs at South Mountain. He believes indigenous tribes also witnessed lights in the sky and drew what they saw.
They're prehistoric pictures of something historical that had happened hundreds of years ago.
But there are doubters, lots of them. Hikers and bikers at South Mountain say UFO theories are a little out there, so to speak.
Military aircraft. Could have been flares.
But Woolwine says he'll keep watching the sky, searching for answers. Brandon Klein, 12 News.
Okay, this next thing that you're going to see is from the Kevin Smith Show. You can see this on my website. You can see the full interview on my website. It's called Battle of the Gods. Yeah,
there doesn't seem to be any record of war, except maybe in the petroglyphs. Tell us about that.
If you look at my website there, it's called petroglyphsinthesky.comm. You'll see on the front page that there's a panel there, and it depicts what looks like a six-figure person with 4 arms. Now, he's holding this staff. Now, along with this panel, you'll see a regular six-figure man holding a bow and arrow, and he's shooting at something in the sky. Not only is the man with the bow and arrow shooting at something in the sky, but the 4-armed six-figure man with the long magical weapon is also shooting at something in the sky. And it seems to be a flying serpent, if you will, some kind of half man, half snake. You can clearly see it has a head, it has some arms there, but its body is the shape of a serpent. Now, when we study the India legends, we run into the Viyamatis. Now, the legends and the folklores on the Viyamatis say that there was some kind of battle here between, I guess let's call them the forces of good and the forces of evil. And these Viyamatis have, if you look at the India gods, if you notice all the limbs, matter of fact, there was a baby girl born maybe a few years ago, and she had all these limbs attached to her, and the India people thought she was a reincarnated god. And this is because of what had happened in the past of these supernatural gods, if you will, that interacted with mankind. And these people seem to be on the side of the humans, and they went to war with these other type of serpent gods, if you will, and were able to, let's say, put them back to where they belong for and until the time of the end, until their time to come out again. Now, the significance of that is it seems to coexist with the rock art on South Mountain here. It does show what looks like a war that did happen here. When we study the India legends on the Viyamatis, now after this war took place, these creatures, the good aliens, if you will, these Viyamatis, these people with the 4 arms, they buried their magical weapons in the spots, in holy spots, because they knew eventually that they would have to come back again one day to reuse the weapons for these creatures, in my opinion, that we're dealing with today.
All right, so here's this is the first place, folks, although I don't have a picture of it. Jeff's got it on his website, and I just didn't have time to get that one loaded. But I've got some more photographs for those of you on our TV channel. But this is the first place where we see something in these rocks that matches something we see in another ancient culture, the first place tonight, where it matches something in another ancient culture around the world. And that is these multi-armed beings with these magical staffs that they can shoot something at these sky serpents. How did the Hohokam know about that? Because what you're talking about in the Indian culture, ancient India, is thousands of years before the Hohokam and thousands of miles away. So I'm saying, is it possible that the Hohokam were seeing the same beings as those ancient people across the world saw before them? It would appear so.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, not only is it, what I find in studying all this, it's the same type of story, same legend, just maybe told just a little bit different. In seeing these creatures, for instance, here's another one, Kevin. You know how we have pyramids all over the world. I mean, it's the same type of structure.
Yeah.
I believe that the ancient ones, they saw the pyramid formations in the sky, and not only do they consider mountains holy, but they created their own mountain in the likeness of what they saw in the sky. It also represents an energy or power source for these ley lines that create energy for these creatures, for these UFOs, if you will. So it's the same thing. I mean, so now we have the same stories, the same type of legend, myth, if you will. And then we have the pyramids, you know, which these people had no contact with each other from across the world, but yet they're erecting the same type of structure, and they're talking about the same type of legend.
Yeah, they use different names for the gods.
Sure.
But the exact same stories in Egypt show up in Central and South America as stories about Quetzalcoatl.
That's right.
You know, different name, same stories. All right, now look, I'm going to put a couple of pictures up here, and what we're looking at is some Hohokam jewelry and artwork that was found here in Hohokam territory in Arizona. It's a black and white photograph, so you know you can't see too much about how pretty this stuff is, but that's a lot of turquoise in that as well. But there's a shape there that I thought, you know, I've seen that elsewhere. And where else did I see it? Well, in the Sumerian depiction of their god, their chief god. This is An, or Anu. In that depiction, the shape of it is very much the same as the shape in this Hohokam artwork that depicts their chief god. Now, I ask myself, is it just coincidence? It's just shape. We can't see much about the Hohokam art. We can't see much in it. Is it just a coincidence? Well, maybe. But I'm going to put up now, Jeff, a picture that you sent to me. And this is of the petroglyphs out, this is some petroglyphs out on South Mountain. In this, what I've done, I don't have the whole picture in the frame. What I've done is I've zoomed in on one particular section because we're going to pay attention to that particular section. And that section is the rock that's sitting center top and the things that are there in the rock. Now, I want to say, first of all, that I have seen this shape of, it looks like, the one I saw, it looked like a barbell. It just had two of these orb things on it connected by a line between them. It looked like a barbell. I've seen that in the sky above Phoenix. We've talked about that before, and you've seen it as well, Jeff. But I want us to focus on that, and what we're going to do is to make this easy, to make it easier to compare. I'm going to switch from a photograph to a sketch of that rock. And now we're looking at a sketch of this same petroglyph. Here's what's interesting about this. These are all things in that one rock. These are all things that are up in the sky. And we know because down below them are things on the ground. You can see some, animals and stuff on the ground. These are things up in the sky.
Okay, that was from the Kevin Smith Show. That's an interview we did. You can see the rest of that interview on my website, petroglyphsinthesky.comm. Through Indian rock art on the mountains that we find, through biblical scrolls and things that we read about, in ancient times, UFOs has been here before and continue to be here. It all seems to fit. Something that I found real interesting is, when we read the book of Numbers, okay, it says that the Israelites actually, when they were following Moses out of Egypt, the Israelites actually followed a thing in the sky. It says that, well, it looks like that's the end of the show, and you guys have a great day, and hope you enjoyed the show. I wish we had more time, but the rest of it, you can see on my website, petroglyphsinthesky.comm, and see you guys later.
Woolwine. Petroglyph in the Sky wishes to thank Tom Moreno, Captain Star Eagle from Cosmic Chronicles, Jim Rogers from The Cutting Edge Show, thekevinsmithshow.com, Access Tucson, and viewers like you. Thank you. Until the next exciting episode, keep your eyes in the skies. You never know what you might see.